Welcome, New Beginnings Toastmasters, to our Zoom meeting this evening. I'm Lee Walker, the Sergeant at Arms for the club this year, and we're going to move right into our first roll this evening. Franz, with the invocation.
Good evening, lovely masters, Toastmasters, as well as the invitees and all the guests and presidents. Tonight, thank you for the opportunity to share and providing little muscles for the thought. The sound of words create a vibration which fuels our emotion and nurtures our emotion. The collection of them becomes the bridge which facilitates our crossing to one and others. On allowing self to explore living, we arrive at the forefront of beginning, which defines forever within now. I should pass the baton back to the Sergeant of Arms. Thank you for your diligent self.
JP here on yet?
JP will not be here. David Marshall is our acting president.
Okay, let's welcome our president this evening, David Marshall.
Good evening, everyone. How's your week going? I don't know if my computer is freezing or anything. I don't know. I'm in a new house and looks like I'm used to it. So I might. Gosh, I have no. But I see Kennedy. Or. Yeah.
Hey, David, you have a really low signal right now. We can barely make out what you're saying.
Really?
Oh, that came in clear.
I have to come back. We sign off and y'all could do meeting, you know. And
all right.
See what I can.
So we'll turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster evening, Cleo Robertson.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for everyone who's wearing hats. Looks like, do we have any guests this evening? We have lots of wonderful members here. And our awesome District Director, Linda Kennedy, welcome. Yeah, and okay, so next I'm gonna explain my Toastmaster of the Evening role. As Toastmaster of the Evening, I will be your host for this event and conduct the meeting. And this meeting consists chiefly of 4 major parts. The first part is speeches. The second part is, well, we're gonna have a short break after that. The second part is table topics. Third, speech evaluations. Fourth, general evaluation. And of course, as I mentioned, our meeting theme is hats. So if you haven't had a chance to put your hat on or other type of head covering, could be a crown, could be bunny ears, whatever you like on your head, feel free to go ahead and put that on if you want to play along. Now, most of you have access to the agenda. Now for Miss Linda Kennedy, I just added the agenda in the link. If you scroll up in the chat, there's a link at the top to scripts, logs, and other tips. Do you see the chat? And there's a Google Drive link in there.
You may have to repost it because if you post it before anyone joined the channel, they won't see it.
All right. There you go. There should be a printed agenda PDF in there. Did I add it for you? So let me know if you can get to it. Can you click on that?
I still don't see it. I'm in the Zoom group chat, but I do not see a link.
Do you see the chat option at the bottom of the page of the screen?
That's where I am.
Okay.
Oh, it just came. It just
Okay.
came.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks. So it should be the second link in there.
Okay.
And there
gotcha.
should be a printed agenda in there that you
Okay.
can get to.
Okay.
Okay. And that goes for everybody. So if you want to see the agenda without having to go to the website, you can just click on that link and open up the PDF in there. Let's see. I'm also supposed to be going over any meeting changes. And let me see. All right, so far we have one change. Linda Kennedy will be the general evaluator for right now. And then let's see, is Jay here? Jay is running a little bit late. He's speaker 2. And let's see, is Vincent Liu in here yet? Can't tell.
He's not in yet.
Okay, he said he's gonna be running late, but he's evaluator 4. So he said he was gonna be running late, but he should be in by that time because we do our speeches like pretty late into the meeting too, so. Okay. I do need a grammarian. Can someone volunteer to be a grammarian today? Anybody?
All right, I'll do it.
Who? Oh, thank you. Yay! All right. Okay, what else do I need? Anything else? Is anyone, who's the odd counter?
The grammarian and odd counter are combined.
Oh, it's both. You're doing it together? Okay. I wasn't sure if we were separating that out. And I think, who's doing the timer role? Is Melba still, is Melba gonna make it?
On mute. Melba will be here. She is in already. She just got in the door.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Melba will be here for a timer. Yes. Wonderful. All right. So those are the meeting changes. And now I would like to turn the lectern back over to our, well, I will turn the lectern over to our general evaluator, Toastmaster Linda Kennedy, who will introduce her special helpers and go over her role for this evening.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here. And as your general evaluator, I act as the meeting manager with responsibilities that also include ensuring that the speech evaluators know their responsibilities, and I'm sure they do. We will look at the grammarian all counter and those people who have roles to make sure that they're filling them out right. I'll evaluate everything that takes place during the meeting and make sure each activity is performed correctly. Our grammarian today, again, is Lee. So Lee, if you could unmute yourself and explain your role, please.
This evening, I'm serving as the grammarian. In Toastmasters, we want to speak complete sentences, use English language properly. And then also I'm the odd counter, so I'll be watching or listening for filler words, you know. So, Madam General Evaluator.
Okay, thank you. Let's give him a hand. Thank you. Our next role, I don't know if you mentioned that, but it's the word master and listen up. And it says Asha is completing that role. Asha, can you explain what you're going to do as the word master? Thank you. Listen up. Thank you.
As word master, it is my duty and pleasure to introduce the word of the day. For today's word, the word is loquacious, which means talkative. We here might know a thing or two about that. So an example of being loquacious is somebody who gets an idea and runs with it from morning till night, talking to anybody who will listen. I will now post it in the chat section. And because I'm going back and forth between Word and Zoom, this will take me just a moment. Well, how about I go back to the script and do that momentarily? We are, each of us, each speaker, encouraged to use the word of the day. And I will give Wordmaster report when called upon during the meeting and report on the usage of the word of the day, which is, again, loquacious. I apologize for having been so just now.
Oh, that's okay. Don't
Madam-
apologize. You also have the listen up role. Are you going to be doing that this evening?
I will, yes.
Okay, you will explain that as well.
Oh dear. So I've done it before, and I'm sorry that I can't get the script because I'm having a hard time going between.
That's okay. So what she's going to do
Thank
is
you.
going to give an opportunity for everybody to refine their listening skills by choosing random phrases throughout the meeting or thoughts or things that people have presented, and ask us at the end of the meeting to see if we were actually listening to everything that was going on. So thank you. Let's give Asha a hand. The next role is the timer, and that is Melba. And you said that she's joining. I really would like to be able to see how the timing is going to. Oh, hi, Melba. Okay.
Hello.
Hi. If you'll explain your role and demonstrate the timing cards for us. Thank you.
Okay, well, my role as timer is to time our speakers, our evaluators, and our table topics master. When the time comes for those who present in table topics, our speeches are between 5 to 7 minutes. At the 5-minute line, I will display a green Crayola. At the yellow marking, I will then show a yellow Crayola. And then when the time limit has reached, I will show a red Crayola. And so forth and etc. in regards to our table topics and our evaluators for the night.
Okay. Thank you very much. Melba, if I may ask you, whenever you get to the timing, if you will keep that color pen up until it's time to change to the next pen. Thank you. I've seen a lot where it kind of disrupts things. And then we have our topics master. Well, no, see, I believe the Toastmaster, I'm going to go on and ask the topics master to go on and introduce themselves and then hand it over to the Toastmaster. So topics master is Elizabeth.
Hi. Oh, this is so much fun being topics master. I will be asking questions, and people have 1 to 2 minutes to create an answer on the fly, and everyone will get to listen to the creative loquaciousness of our topics respondents. And that will come after our break, I believe. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And I will see, let's see, for the evaluators who I have, and you can correct me later as we go along, is Charles Hartman is evaluator 1, David Marshall, evaluator number 2, Hans Peter is evaluator number 3, Vincent, evaluator number 4, and Tammy as evaluator number 5. As we go through the meeting, once we get through the speeches, I'll be able to cross out and call on the right people. Madam Toastmaster, thank you.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Now, it is the speech portion of our meeting, and we have 5 speeches. But before I introduce the first speaker, I suggest that the speakers pin the timer so that it's easier to see her. So if you hover over Melba's rectangle, there are 3 dots in the upper right corner. Click on that the little 3 dots, and there's a pin video option. So for the speakers, I suggest you pin the timer. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker of the evening is Toastmaster Zachary Phillips. He's working on the Visionary Communications Pathways Education Program. It is his icebreaker speech, his very first speech, which is 4 to 6 minutes. The speech title is, I am a miracle, and so can you. Have you ever witnessed a miracle? Our first speaker of the evening is going to show you that your life is indeed chock full of miracles. He hopes to convince you that your life is full of miracles as well. Please welcome to the lectern, the miracle worker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Cleo, and greetings to all Toastmasters and guests. My name is Zach Phillips, and I am here today because of the numerous miracles that have occurred in my life, and you are here because of that exact same reason as well. Numerous miracles have happened in your life. Let me back up a bit so I can tell you my story, and it will help solidify this notion to you. So I was born and raised in a small town in Ohio, southern Ohio, and I was basically raised in the church. And when I say raised in the church, I mean, especially as a kid, I went there like 2-3 times a week. And pertinent to this exact speech is there was a pulpit, and underneath the pulpit, there was a sign that said, expecting miracles, ? And the bullet words were expect miracle. And I didn't really know what that exactly meant at the time, but now I sort of see it as if you want a miracle to occur in your life, you have to expect them to happen, and expect them as if they've already happened even. And yeah, I just didn't understand that. But I'm moving on to further down the road. I'm 26 years old, and I'm living in Columbus, which is the biggest city in Ohio. And I have this really good friend of mine, Sam Fight. He didn't have a car at the time, but he also had a girlfriend that lived about an hour away. And so one morning he calls me up and he says, will you take me to where my girlfriend lives? And I say, sure. So about mid-afternoon, we set out in my car. I'm the driver, and we head out on like this 4-lane highway. And then he says, pull over here, and it's a smaller road, like a 2-lane highway. And then after that, I couldn't tell you. You'd have to ask Sam, because I had a seizure while driving, a grand mal seizure while driving. And so what Sam says is that he pulls the car off to the side of the road. He does what no one should actually do, but honestly, it saved my life because I was turning purple. He sticks his hand down my throat, unlodges my tongue, and prevents me from choking to death and suffocating. After that, he dials 911, and the paramedics arrive, take him to the hospital. I'm life flown back to Columbus, Ohio, and then after several procedures and consultations, 3 surgeries and a couple smaller procedures, I haven't had a seizure since. And I'm thankful for that. I'm deeply thankful for it now, but at the time it was more like an intellectual sort of gratitude that I had, just sort of like almost like a lip service sort of thing. But a couple of months after that, I could go back to work, and I explained the story to one of my friends, a coworker, and she says, well, dude, what that was a complete miracle. Like, you're living on purpose, God's purpose, and you just gotta acknowledge that miracle in your life. And I think that she helped me plant the seed towards going from like an intellectual awareness of gratitude to like an emotional and spiritual level. And so I'm going to fast forward again to April of this year. I get myself involved with this coaching program, and it is actually all about gratitude, working with miracles, purpose in life, things like that. And one of the earlier calls, she says, my coach, she says something about Toastmasters. And within a couple of days, I join up with this exact club. And at the end of the meeting, all of these people are here, but I meet this guy. His name is Andrew Bullock, and Andrew Bullock is sort of like a tech sort of guy. And one of my problems that I had with my computer, well, actually my external hard drive just wasn't working. And so, and this is about a week ago. I say, what do I say? I say, can you help me with that? And he says, sure. He says nothing about necessarily wanting, any money or anything, but Virginia Beach, and I'm traveling towards Norfolk, and I stop in this place called the Dirty Buffalo, and I park at this parking thing, and there's a lady that comes up and says, "Oh, you for pickup?" And I say, "No, I just want to place my order." And so she says, "Well, call this number." I call it, and yeah, I place that order, and she goes back inside. It takes a little bit longer than I was expecting, but it wasn't her who came back the next time. It was a guy. It was a younger guy, and he had a gun. And he taps on my car window with the gun. And he says, "Step out of the car." And I do that. And he says, "Hand me the keys." And I do that as well. And then, so him and his accomplice, they speed off somewhere. I have no idea. And so I run inside, and they're already on 911, and they give me another dispatcher, and I give my story as well. And like at that moment, all sort of solidifies the fact that I'm just thankful to be alive, unharmed even. And they just see, some of these employees, they see just the fact that I just have this peaceful disposition, and some people even say so themselves. And it's truly because I see it as a miracle now, as a fully emotional and just spiritual miracle. And now I know the scope and gravitas of miracles. Instead of just letting life flow on, I'm expecting positive ones in my life. I'm seeing them as if they have already happened, and feeling grateful for all that I have, but also what I don't have yet on the physical plane. I see it in my mind's eye, and I acknowledge it to be true in the spiritual realm. I'm meant to be alive, and truly you are all meant to be here and alive as well. You are always in the exact right place at the exact right time, whether you admit it or not to yourself. There's something good in every event, and especially everybody. I challenge you all to see the good through added awareness, understanding, and most of all, gratitude. I challenge you to seek and find your miracles. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
That was amazing. Everybody, please give him another round of applause. That was his first speech, his icebreaker speech. Awesome and very inspiring. Those stories are wow. Oh my gosh, those stories are amazing. And I wrote down something you said at the very beginning. You got to expect miracles in your life if you want them, something like that. So I love that positive thinking. Thank you so much for that speech. And now, can I request, I need a minute. Can I put a minute on the clock to do an evaluation for his speech? You will send, if you want to do an evaluation for Zach's speech, what you'll do is privately message him by clicking on his, the little dots on his square, click on chat, and you can send him an evaluation if you like to do so of his first speech. Timer, 1 minute, please. Thank you.
Um, 20, 19, 18.
Is it up? Is the time's up? What?
Almost.
Oh, okay. So long minute.
7 seconds.
Wow.
2, 1.
All right. We are going to, oh, Jay, yeah, hey. We are going to our second speech, and let me get my notes up. Our second speaker of the evening is Toastmaster Jamard J. Basikat. He's working on the Leadership Development Pathways Education Program, and he's working on part 1 of the Evaluation and Feedback Project in level 1. The length of his speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and the title is The Science of Action. Action is an inherent law of nature that governs every aspect of our lives. The concept of Newton's third law can be seen beyond the physics of nature in our decisions, behavior, and ultimately our destiny. Jay will help us further reinforce the idea that we are the pilots of our own life. Please welcome to the lectern, all day, every day, Jay.
The Science of Action. Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, stated, "For one to be successful in acquiring money, you must have a knowledge of what you want, a definiteness of purpose, and a burning desire to achieve it." Now, I always ask the question in Napoleon Hill thinking, why must these be the requirements only to acquire money? I personally believe that these are the foundations of obtaining most of what anyone can want in life. Meaning, any personal goal that's within your ability to achieve can be reached through these 3 principles. Knowing what you want provides the destination. Definiteness of purpose lays out the path, and the burning desire gives you the drive. This drive goes hand in hand with one law that has governed mankind since the beginning. That is action. Picture a stage, lights, camera, and it's on you. Impress your viewers with your ingenuity as you search for a way to resolve your own plot. Think to yourself, how am I going to get through all these conflicts and end this story with a bang? And right before you curse the writers out for putting your character through all these challenges, look in the mirror. You wrote this story. Your actions and inactions have been instrumental in creating obstacles and pathways to your success. So Jay, you telling me that everything in my life is my fault? I'm not saying that, but by taking responsibility, you take control. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The world around us is constantly in motion. You cannot stay at rest, even if you tried. I've tried. My alarm clock won't let it happen. But because the world is at motion, even if you were not to take action, guess what? Action is being taken upon you. That's why so many people get frustrated. Oh, everything bad happens to me, or they're constantly being bossed around, or nothing they do works. It's because the forces acting on you are greater than the forces you're using to take action. Now, you can either take action or be a reaction. Taking action means you have control and can enforce your will, whereas being reactive means the will of others are being forced on you. Now, the right question to ask is, how do I take action? By falling back on the original principles. First, know what you want from life. Have a specific desire set in place. If you want to be financially free, think of how much money you would want specifically. If you want to be healthy, think of what size, weight, even body fat percentage that you'd want. If you want to be an incredible speaker, think of where you want to speak and at what level. Having a specific goal, have a specific goal and write it out and look at it every day. That keeps you focused and helps point you in the right direction. A definiteness of purpose creates the path. It gives you a life's journey to go down, knowing that there's one definite route you need for success. This is the phase where you can create a reasonable plan for success. Remember, reactive people believe in excuses, whereas action-oriented people believe in a plan. Also, you must be prepared for roadblocks. In that, you can utilize Newton's third law. If you find an obstacle great or formidable, just know it's a test of strength, not a sign that you're going in the wrong direction. Examine the challenge, assess the difficulty, and determine what tools you have to overcome. And for my gamers out there, button mash if you need to. Do everything you can to fight this battle. Fight your obstacles and push back. All else fails, you can learn from this mistake. This way, the science of action works in your favor as opposed to working against you. And lastly, a burning desire will drive any person towards victory. The same way an engine utilizes combustion of fuel to drive the mechanics to move a car, you should display a burning desire that propels you forward towards your next checkpoint. There's no good action without passion behind it. Have a vision board or an image that reminds you of what you want. That desire will make taking action even more meaningful. Now, it's no surprise to some of you that I like to toughen my niece up. One of the practices I used to do when she was 2 was to kick her in the butt every time she walked past me. Sometimes it'd push her forward a little. Sometimes she'd fall flat on her face. Now, she wouldn't cry. She'd just get up with an angry expression and charge at me with all her might. If you ever seen Dragon Ball Z, the same way my niece would charge up, kick her little foot back, and kick at me with everything she could. And then I'd just step an inch to the side and she'd completely miss. In spite of that, though, she kept kicking at me with everything she got until I got distracted or bored and let her land one. Then she'd just go about her business. The moral of that story is, just like my niece was determined to pay me back for kicking her in the butt, you should pay life back for kicking you in the butt. Life is a bully, and to some it may seem unfair. The people that seem lucky or things seem to just work out for them are warriors taking down challenges every day that you don't see from the outside. When you become comfortable with taking action and forcing your will on everything around you, you then begin to see the fortunate developments that happen on your behalf. We must all remember that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but transformed. Every action that you take does not disappear. It continues to transform itself. It may affect you immediately in the future or later down the road. Either way, every step you take matters. Take action and allow your will to determine your drive, what your path is, and where you're going, and secure that success that you want your life story to reflect. Madam Toastmaster.
That was amazing. You can either take action or be a reaction. Button mash if you have to. That's great. I wrote those down. I think I'm gonna set it as my screensaver. I love those phrases. Great job. So can I have a minute on the timer for an evaluation, to do an evaluation for Jay's speech? If you want to privately send him an evaluation, remember to click on his rectangle, click on the 3 dots, and there is a chat option.
Oh.
Thank you, Melba.
You're welcome. This is fun. Really good job, Jay. That was impressive. Awesome. And to you as to Zach as well. And a minute is up.
That was a quick minute. All right, thank you so much, Melba. Now, for our third speaker. Our third speaker of the evening is Toastmaster Josh Puerto. He's working on the Motivational Strategies Pathway Education Program. It's the Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring Project within Level 2. The length of his speech is 5 to 7 minutes. The title is One Journey to Success. Josh Puerto, a man who has been through so many things but always keeps moving forward, will tell you a story about his mentor. This person helped him see that life can be successful and never give up. Now, will the real JP please stand up? Please stand up.
You told him to say it. A journey to success. Everybody has a journey. And my journey has been a journey where I have fell and I had to get back up and keep on going. But tonight I bring you all a quote from a man named Albert Einstein who says, "Strive not to be successful, but rather to value yourself." You see, I have to learn how to value myself and know who I really am. And I had a man in school, my soccer coach, who he pushed me every day. "Joshua, don't get in trouble. Joshua, don't do this." And he kept on always asking me, "Joshua, who do you want to be?" And I said to him, "I never know what I want to be, but I'm always going to strive to be somebody who people look up to." And when I met Toastmasters, a lot of people there said to me, "Joshua, you're a really good person to be around." And I always enjoyed being around my family. I call my people from Toastmaster my family. But I will not stop, because success doesn't come with quitting. Success comes with telling yourself every day you can do it. Not long ago, I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And bipolar disorder is something that some days you're happy, some days you're sad. But you know what I tell myself? I was born for a reason, and that reason is going to come to the light someday. So I look at people and I tell them, don't give up. Keep being happy, because what God has for you is something amazing. Like everybody knows me, God's purpose is not to hurt us or to take away things from us. Some days we think that, but it's to make us stronger. It's to make us realize that where He is, all things is possible. And every day of my journey, I wake up and I say to myself, "Josh, are you going to stay in bed and cry of what you got, or are you going to get up and do something new?" And that's what I do. I get up and I say something to somebody like, "Hey, you got this." I tell my mom and my sister, don't give up. Life ain't easy, but there's success coming at the end of it. And please, don't only get success out of it. Value yourself for who you are. My sister tells me some days, "I'm not pretty." Yes, you are. You're pretty because God created you. My mom, "Oh, I'm big." But yeah, Mom, I love you. And whoever doesn't love you, it doesn't matter. God created you that way. You see, we can't make people put us down. We have to always tell ourselves that we are somebody. And that's what I'm learning every day more and more. That coach, he never gave up on me. He kept on telling me, "Josh, you might not be the best soccer player, but you're going to be somebody who's going to make somebody realize what they are. If you can't realize who you are, they'll realize who they are by you telling them something good. Give good advice. Never try to hurt nobody. Make that person feel good. Because one hurt can make that person never be here again." I heard a story of a man. He said to me when I was at a facility for getting my medicine, he said to me, "My father and my mother would walk up to me and tell me they didn't love me. And one day I took myself to a bridge and I jumped off. I broke 78 bones in my body." He said, "But you know what that was? Because I couldn't tell myself I love myself." And that's what we struggle with every day. We don't get up and tell ourselves we love ourselves. We wait for somebody else to say, "I love you." Love is a big thing. But the only person who loves us, no matter what happens in life, is God. And I can promise you that. I've seen miracles that God has created for my family. He's never left me, and He's never taken anything away from me on purpose. It's been a reason for me to realize that I have to value myself more. That's a journey that I never want to lose. And I want to keep on gaining from this journey. I want to know, what else do I have to do? What's the next next step. My next step right now is to become a paramedic. I want to get back in school, and I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to tell myself, you can do it. Go ahead and file for school. Do what you got to do. Invest in myself and become somebody, because nobody's going to put me down if I don't let them. I have to let them in and destroy me. So what I'm going to say to y'all today is, one positive thing makes you stronger. One negative thing makes you weaker. But you can make that journey strong, or you can make that journey weak. You can keep looking for the negative or looking for the positive. One journey to success starts with you. So make it what you want it to be in your life. Thank you, everybody, for letting me share that with y'all today.
That was very inspiring. Success comes with telling yourself every day that you can do it. And I need that positive mentality as I start my weight training program soon. So thank you for that, for that inspiration and wonderful words of encouragement. Can I get a minute on the clock, Melba? Are you back yet? Where's Melba? Where'd she go? There she is. Yes, a minute on the clock. So if you want to send Mr. Puerto an evaluation privately.
Linda said, "What an uplifting message. Stay on your Toastmaster journey leading to your success. You have a message to share." Words, never heard that before. Tammy said, "Josh, you're such..."
Time.
Is the time? The time's up?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So let me scroll down. All right. Our fourth speaker of the evening is Toastmaster Robert Riggs. He is working on the Effective Coaching Pathways Education Program. It's the Reaching Consensus Part 2 project in Level 3, and it's 7 minutes. The speech title is Vision Board Part 2. 2 weeks ago, we spitballed some ideas for the vision of our club and what changes we want to see. After reaching a general consensus about the future of our club, the officers discussed the results and what actions we can take to move forward. Our next speaker will present the 4 rungs of our vision ladder and how we can climb to the new normal. Please welcome to the lectern, the panoptic prognosticator.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I will try to get through this speech without being too utterly loquacious. Why? Because I know that if I go over 7 minutes and 30 seconds, my VPE will make me do this speech again. That is our new rule. Robert can't go over. Oh, so he's nodding right there. What did we talk about 2 weeks ago? We talked about a vision board. I gave a clip about what a vision board was. It was kind of funny. I had to mute parts of it because it wasn't exactly Toastmaster appropriate, but we got the idea and we ran with it. We ran with it so well that we were very specific on exactly where we wanted to go. We had 4 main ideas that, as Elizabeth Clara stated, is kind of like the 4 rungs of our ladder. You see, when you have a vision, you not only have to carry that vision with you as if you're carrying a ladder on your shoulder and walk around with it, but when you finally get somewhere, you need to hold it up and take the steps. You need to be intentional with your steps. So what are our intentional steps? Well, the first one was pretty simple. We came to a consensus that we should all be more social. This is a pretty darn social club. We like to talk a lot and talk with each other. So how can we do even more? Well, believe it or not, when we talked to the officers a week ago, we had an officers meeting and there were just ideas all over the place. One example, networking events. We can, instead of having just a three meetings a month, we can have 4 meetings, but one of those meetings is a guaranteed networking event, kind of like an open house, but it would be more social, be more like a meetup for LinkedIn, stuff like that, professional development. I thought that was a pretty good idea. What was another one? Saturdays, one Saturday a month, we can go to do something like, I don't know, movies. The officers kind of do this from time to time already. We can continue to do it as the rest of a club. We can go to places like Dave & Buster's, bowling, arcades, all sorts of social events. We can also do parties at someone's house, and we can even rotate it if we so choose. Not everybody has to go to Elizabeth's house to have a party. Sometimes Elizabeth can come to our house to have a party. And God forbid, what else can we do if not do it right after the meeting on Tuesdays, but dancing? Is there a bachata dance in Virginia Beach? There is. These are all more social things that we can do that will bring us closer together. What was step number 2? Step number 2 in our ladder, we want to be more visible online. Now, I'm going to give a shout out to Tammy Adama here. Tammy has agreed to be the VPPR for next year. We're still going to have elections next week, but when she told me her ideas for being VPPR, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is all right, everybody just, and after 2 months, you're going to be like, Tammy, like, yes, keep at it. We bow to you. She gave me all, like, I just said, Tammy, what do you think? And it was like, and it was like, these are great plans. Let me give you a few. We're going to re-up our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, but we're going to integrate it with all sorts of stuff. For example, Instagram. We don't have an Instagram account, I believe, but we can integrate our Facebook with our Instagram. For example, another thing we could do, we have an Eventbrite. We can integrate our LinkedIn page with our Eventbrite. I give a shout out to Linda Kennedy. She led a district this year that started that idea, and we want to continue that in our club, actually create a professional LinkedIn environment. So that way we can bring the professionals into a group as well as the social aspect. It has the professional with the social. We can also do some posters and really have links all over our website and connections. Last thing, our YouTube page. Cleo did something this week that I love. She sent out a YouTube link and invited everybody in. Why not post that on our YouTube page? Invite people into our meetings because we're already recording them and putting them there. Once we go back to our meeting space, it looks like we're going to, everybody's pretty happy about continuing Zoom virtually, even while we have our meeting space back. Why quit? Why quit something that's working? Why not? So we're going to keep that and we're just going to keep going with it. Okay. Step number 3 in our ladder. This is an important one. Others' goals, be more evaluation focused and be more member focused. That one's a little broad, so let me give you some key parts of that one. Number 1, a better vision statement and a better mission statement. We're trying to work that one a little bit more, but we got to be intentional with it. If we're going to have it on our agenda, if we're going to have it in our club, why not have it be something that everybody's totally coming together on and being like, okay, this is what I want to say every single time I come to the club. This is our vision. This is our mission. These are the 4 rungs of our ladders. How are we going to get there? Match up with a questionnaire where people figure out what they want to work on. What do I mean by that? We can take 2 people in our club and say, okay, here's a questionnaire. I read out the questionnaire to you. What do you want to work on? Not just from an educational perspective in Toastmasters, but what 3 goals do you want to see next year in your life that you somehow, maybe the club members or Toastmasters in general, can help you? How can you be intentional in Toastmasters so that it doesn't just help you as a Toastmasters member, but as a person overall? So giving questionnaires to each other, that kind of goes back and forth. Another thing it does, it kind of keeps us accountable. It doesn't mean that we have to be overbearing or, you know, crazy, do. But it does mean that we can be like, hey, how's that thing coming along? It means that we can share our lives with each other a little bit more, and it can help you and lift each other up. We're lifting each other up, not necessarily being too pushy. Another thing that we can do, record people's evaluations and help them one-on-one. I know I want to see more evaluations and better evaluations in our club. Why not? Let's start recording them. We have a practicum next week on evaluations. Why not start there? One-on-one vision goals. This is something I would love to see from everybody. we can give 3 goals that we're trying to get through next year. What 3 goals do you want to see in your life over the next year? Tell the group, and we can all have a fun conversation about it. Tell us how you're doing with those vision goals. And then finally, I'm going to give a shout out to JP on this one, but accountability partners, accountability buddy. That is something that I definitely love. And I think that if you have a good friend that can keep you accountable in the club, let it happen organically. And our 4th ring in the ladder is outreach. Once we've kind of established ourselves and really we're working our way up, there's that outreach component. That kind of holds the ladder together. How can we go out? Jail system volunteering, motivational seminars. Cleo, you gave a lot of really good resources from libraries. There's returning citizens, but there's also women's shelters, NAAA for job interviews, things like that. We can do job fairs. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's even, we can even have clips of speeches of like, you know, a new speaker and like a really experienced speaker before and after. There's lots of different ways we can do outreach. So how do we carry our ladder? We have to be intentional with our steps. We have to be able to move forward and say, we have this great vision. How do we extract that and push it into a mission? That's the hard part. Now I'm going to challenge all of you over the next 2-3 months to try to work that with me together. And then we'll say, okay, we're establishing this, we're moving forward. This is how we're going to do it. And we're going to try to be a little bit accountable to each other, but without being pushy. My vision is your vision. That's why I did this project, because I wanted to see if I'm going to be president next year, I want to be my vision to be your vision. I want to hear you what you want, and let's move forward with it. We now have a clear path. Let's move forward. Madam Toastmaster.
That vision is, I'm excited. Let me just say, I'm very excited. One thing I really like is like the social events. I like movies, but I don't really ever go out by myself. And so I really like the idea of going out with other people and giving me an excuse to like spend money at the theater with other people and have fun. I really like that. And dancing, I don't know. I might just watch y'all for a little while. We go dancing, but that sounds fun. And I like the idea of accountability partners. I need that in my day-to-day life too. So great job on your speech. Can I get a minute from the timer so we can do an evaluation for Robert Riggs's speech?
It's starting.
Okay.
Okay, we got 49 seconds. How's everybody doing? 15 seconds. 7, 6, 32. And we're back.
All right, awesome. Our 5th and last speaker of the evening is Toastmaster Andrew J. Bullock. He's working on the Legacy program and doing the interpretive reading project. It's the oratorical speech. It's 8 to 10 minutes. The speech title is Give Me Liberty. Wait. Don't leave yet. We still have one more left. Coming to us live from the Revolutionary War is Mr. Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. Please welcome to the lectern, America's original patriot.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Patrick Henry is not the most loquacious man. However, he did have a few choice words when it came to England's rule over the United States. And if I could nail down one thing that single-handedly changed the direction of our nation and gave us birth it would be his Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death speech that he gave in March of 1775. Because this speech spurred on, well, the Declaration of Independence. So, without further ado, I shall read his speech. No man, Mr. President, thinks more highly of the patriotism as well as abilities of the worthy gentlemen who have addressed the House. But different men see the same subject in different lights, and therefore I hope it will not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do opinions of character very opposite to theirs, I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment to this country. For my own part, I consider it as nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery, and in proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is only in this way that we can hope to arrive at truth and fulfill the great responsibility which we hold to God and our country. Should I keep back my opinions at such a time through fear of giving offense, I should consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and an act of disloyalty toward the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural to man to indulge in illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth and listen to the song of that siren until she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men engaged in a great, arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, and things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, and to know the worst, and to provide for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way by judging of the future, but by the past. And judging by the past, I know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify those hopes in which gentlemen have been placed to solace themselves and the House. Is it that insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with those warlike preparations which cover our waters and darken our land. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are not the implements of war and subjugation. The last arguments to which kings resort, I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array if its purpose is not to force us to submission? Can gentlemen assign to any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to call for all this accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir, she has not. For they are meant for us, they can be meant for no other. They are sent over to bind and rivet upon us those chains which British ministry have been so long forging. And what do we What have we to oppose to them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we've been trying for that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to offer upon the subject? Nothing. We have held the subject up in every light of which it is capable, but it has been all in vain. Shall we resort to entreaty and humble supplication? What terms shall we find which have not already exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves. Sir, we have done everything that could be done to avert the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated ourselves before the throne and have implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the ministry and parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded. We have been spurned with contempt from the foot of the throne. In vain, after these things, may we indulge the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. Is there no longer any room for hope? If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve and violate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until glorious object to our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir. We must fight. An appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all that is left us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be the next week or the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and when a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemy shall have bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak if we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. The millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty and in such a country as that which we possess are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations and who will rise up and raise up friends and to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not the strong alone. It is the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir. Let it come. Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Madam Toastmaster.
I don't think I've heard that or read that speech before. It's amazing to hear something from that time in history. I mean, I agree with Asha in the comments that Patrick Henry was very loquacious. Great job, Toastmaster Andrew. Can I get a minute for the evaluation if you want to send him an evaluation.
It starts. 49 seconds on the clock. I have been loquaciously talented, but not right now. I'm tired. How's everybody's week going? That's what I wonder. I'm packed with work. 28. 24. Slowly. If time could talk, I wonder what it would say. I say it's up.
Yay! All right. Since you still have your mic off, can you give us a timer's report for the speeches, Melba, Toastmaster Melba Puerto?
Yes, gladly. Oh my gosh, Carmel, you're taking my Crayola. Child, come back here. My dog, she stole it. Okay. Speeches for our first speaker of the evening, Mr. Zach. His time was between, what was it, 6 to 8 minutes?
No, it's
And
4 to
his
6.
time
4 to
was
6.
Okay, 4 to 6 minutes. Thank you. 4 to 6, and his time was 6 minutes and 41 seconds. For Mr. Jamard, it was 5 to 7 minutes, and his time was precisely 7 minutes on the dot. Josh was 5 to 7 minutes, and his speech was 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Robert Riggs was between 5 to 7 minutes, and he qualifies because he got 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wait.
Proud of you, Rob. And Andrew's speech was 8 to 10 minutes, and he got 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Impressive.
Wow.
Impressive.
Is that?
Please send your votes to New Beginnings Toastmasters for our best speaker.
Yes.
He said I barely disqualified. You did good, Rob. We're proud of you. You got into the 7-minute mark. That says a lot. We love you. It didn't go over.
And as a reminder, if you want to send your votes in, you just hover over the New Beginnings TM, the little dots, and then chat privately. Oh, I forgot. Can we put a minute on the clock to do that?
We can just go into break.
Okay. All right. So we can give you a 5-minute break.
All right. We are adjourned for 5 minutes.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
New Beginnings Toastmasters, please come back to order. We're moving into the evaluation portion of our meeting this evening.
Lee, turn it over to our Toastmaster.
Okay, sorry. Let's welcome our Toastmaster, Cleo.
Welcome back, everyone. It is my pleasure to go. We're going to start table topics, but I need to introduce Toastmaster Elizabeth Claire, who is going to be our topics master for the evening, and she's going to make us answer some questions. Beware.
Hello. I loved the hat business today, and I had a whole lot of questions about hats and what they mean to you. But I was also inspired by so many of the speakers on other things. So I have some non-hat questions too. So, since I don't see all the faces and all the names at once, which I would like to do, how can I get out of looking at myself and be able to look at all the people, Andrew?
If you select the 9 squares, it will switch you to gallery view.
Select the 9 squares. There we go. Thank you. Okay. We should have a little handbook of all the different things you have to know how to do when you're on Zoom, because they're all new to me. Okay. So let's see. Tammy, what does your hat mean to you?
My hat, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
My hat means to me, it's a bobcat. So bobcats are wild animals, and I'm feeling pretty wild right now, pretty frisky, all right? So I decided to borrow my friend's bobcat hat. And it's pretty nice, it's lined. Could get away wearing this in the winter, but I'm not hot right now. It's very comfortable. What does it mean to me? Well, you need a little wild craziness in your life, then I guess, you know, wear a bobcat hat. It's good. It'll make you feel a little frisky. Hats are symbols of a lot of things. And we all wear different hats in our daily lives. We wear hats at our jobs and at our homes and out in our personal lives. If we all had a hat for each role we played, we'd probably have closets full of them. I would probably not be able to open my closet door if I had to have a hat for every role I play. But fortunately for me, I have all these helpers here tonight and everybody's wearing a hat, so we can just leave it at that. Thank you.
I love that. A hat for every role that you're playing in life and filling your closet with all those hats. Yes, I only have 3 hats, but this is only good for St. Patrick's Day. So my next question, I love the story of miracles. And so I'm going to ask, do you have or have you had any miracles befall you in your life? Let's see, David Marshall. David?
What was the question again?
Have you had any miracles befall you in your life?
Oh, I've had several miracles befall me in my life. Miss Elizabeth, I remember a couple of times just when I was sailing. When I was a cadet, I would sail into foreign countries, and I was a young cadet from the South Bronx. I'd often leave the country with no money and nothing to really go out in town with, but I would never want to stay on the ship. So I would always just go out into town, and it was always, it would always occur to me to go out and explore the country and to visit the people and to visit and see the country and to see the different spaces. And I always ended up, even though I didn't have $1 to my name, I always ended up either running into another cadet or running into someone who would say, hey, David, you know, come with us and come hang out with us. And I was always taken care of. And that's just God working in my life and looking over me. And I never got lost, and I was always safe and I was taken care of. And to me, that was a miracle, because there were some times where I didn't know I was going to make it back to the ship. And then because I didn't know where I was literally in a foreign country, and just literally lost, and I would just turn a corner, trying to find my way back, and there'd be a group of cadets, and on their way back to the ship, and they say, "Come on, David, we're on our way back," and everything would be okay, and I'd get back to the ship on time. And definitely want to do that because I did not want to be in the bilge cleaning because I was late getting back to the ship. So to me, that was a miracle, especially for a young kid in a foreign country with no money getting lost. So thank you, Ms. Top Table Topics Master.
Yeah. Great job, David. And I really know that when you're far, far, far from home with no money, what a miracle it is to meet somebody that you know that can help you out, and that eventually you will get yourself back home having had adventures. Good for you. I see Hans wearing a different hat. Hans, is that you hiding under that hat? Before you were a wizard and now you're, can you tell a personality change that comes over you based on different hats that you have? Or particularly the wizard hat changing to, I'm not sure what kind of hat you have now. But who were you with that wizard hat? And what wizardry thing were you capable of doing?
It's not wizardry things that I do. The wizard hat was, of course, bought at Disney World, and is one of my favorite places to go in the whole wide world, just simply because you get to see kids that are happy. They're ecstatic to be there. And when I got that hat probably about 10 years ago, I remember distinctly walking down Main Street, USA, which is one of the first streets you get to when you go to the Magic Kingdom, if you haven't been there. And on the way out on the little paddle steamer, there's this little girl that was tugging on her dad's arm saying, "When do I get to go see Mickey?" And as we're wandering down Main Street, out of the corner of my eye, I see this little girl all of a sudden gets a glimpse of Mickey, and the top of her lung just screams Mickey and runs over and tackles the character who she believes is Mickey. It's not magic for me. It's what it brings to kids when they see those things. And that is what I think is very special about it. Madam Table Topics Master.
And it is wonderful how children relate to the world as though fantasy is real. I love it. Journey, are you there? I see Journey's phone, but I don't know if Journey's really there. Are you there, Journey? You'll have to unmute her so she can answer.
Hi.
Hi, Journey.
Hi.
Journey, if there were a miracle going to happen in your future, what miracle would you hope for?
Okay. Oh, man. Okay. What miracle? For just myself?
For anything.
Oh, man. There's a lot of miracles that I would want for myself and my family and friends. One of them is definitely, I don't want to sound, like, it would be great if sorry for all the noise, I'm walking around, walking home. I guess one of the things would be to be fully happiness from the inside, where I can share with everybody else by being the example, and from that happiness, when we're happy, usually we want the happiness to come from being financially stable, being in love, and having the goal, reaching the goals that we want, whether it's a future family or healthiness, all of that, which starts with happiness. And that's what the miracle that I really would want, is to be happy within myself, which means that I have reached the many other miracles that I want, and the goals that I want. Starting from the inside, working on myself, and then bringing out that positivity to reach other goals in life. That would be the miracle.
I love that, Journey. I love that. I've done a course where it was called a happiness course. And rather than wait for all those wonderful things to happen to us, we start out with, I am happy. It's a sacred saying. And then do what happy people do. Give your happiness to others. But thank you for your listing of all the good miracles that we all hope for happen for all of us as well as for you. So, Vincent, are you ready for a question? Yes, he is, right? Vincent, are you an essential worker out in the world, or do you have to stay at home? Are you which category do you fall in? And then explain what it's like to be in that category.
I am having difficulty unmuting Vincent. Oh, wait, there
Hi.
it is.
Is it right? Okay. Hi, Madam Table Topic Masters and fellow Toastmasters and guests. Yes, I think I believe in the category of stay at home. Well, a lot of people, stay at home is not for a lot of people though. But for me, however, I'm both extrovert and introvert, so I can work on both sides of the fence. So let me say about the stay at home though. So stay at home is not easy. However, you have to adapt to it. So I'm a person who is very easily adapt to a new situation, which helped me a lot too. And I'm able to still stay social and still able to communicate with a lot of different people, even around the world. And because of technology nowadays, for example, this Zoom meeting, right, like this one here, we can talk with a lot of people around the world. And I have friends in Vietnam, Australia, Hong Kong, Canada, Los Angeles, you name it. But we're able to get together by using this technology. So it still helped me to stay social and still stay communicating with a lot of different people and keep me up to date with what's going on around the world. And on the flip side, though, if you stay at home too much, then it's still, I would say, not too healthy. And that's why you have to try to maintain your active style by exercising, by walk out around the park, and then just maintain that the healthy style to keep yourself active and alert all the time. So I learned the big lesson about staying at home. Try to stay social, try to stay healthy, try to stay up to date with the world. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Vincent. Good adaptation. At least being so-so. Is that what you said? If not happy, you're at least so-so. How many more questions can I ask there, Mr. Timekeeper?
I think we can do one more and then we'll move on.
One more. What do you miss most in these lockdown times and why? Who does not have a role? I don't know who's coming up as being evaluators. Who doesn't have any speaking role? I would like that question.
We can give it to France.
France. Okay. The question is, I forgot the question. What do you miss most in these lockdown times? Unmute, France.
Okay. What I miss most and it's downtime is the ability of the physical connection. And that did throw me a loop. I'm a person to person. I'm an old timer. So the new technology took me a while to get adjusted to.
Yeah.
The Toastmaster and my golden line kind of remind me my purpose is to push beyond the boundary. And JP certainly bring it forth at full volume, bringing the facts to the table, reinforce what I've come to accept. Changes is the continuum aspect within our lives. And no matter what challenges there is, once we graciously expect and accept and surrender, the joys follow. So, Madam Toastmaster, thank you, because I'm enjoying it right now and I've seen the fruits of my efforts.
Thank you, Franz. That's wonderful. We have to adapt, and that's what I miss most too, is person to person, someone to talk to. I've got my dog to talk to and telephone and Zoom. So thanks to our technological aware people who made Zoom possible for all of us. And I will turn control of the meeting back to, oh no, first we're going to vote for the best table topics person. So what we're going to do is, oh, Melba's going to give us a timer's report.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so for our table topics, it's between 1 to 2 minutes. Tammy, our first speaker, she had 1 minute and 36 seconds. David, 1 minute and 53. Hans, 1 minute and 32. Journey, 45 seconds. Vincent, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And Franz at 1 minute and 5 seconds.
And how about David?
David? David had 1 minute and 53.
Okay.
All right, send your votes to me at New Beginnings TM. And Toastmaster, you're on.
Those are great questions, Toastmaster Elizabeth Claire. That was a great table topic session. Everybody had such good responses. So now I would like to turn the meeting over to our general evaluator, Toastmaster Linda Kennedy.
All right. Hello, everybody. Let's get ready for our evaluations. Our first evaluator I have is Charles Hartman, who is evaluating speaker number 1, who was Zachary.
Thank you, Madam Kennedy, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. And Zachary, where did you go on my screen? I think you've disappeared. Well, I guess I'm going to have to practice what I'm about to preach. So, first of all, I would like to say, Zachary, excellent job for stepping up and giving your introductory speech. I think you really did a fabulous job. It was quite a story. You're very loquacious. Oh, there you are. You're very loquacious, and it shows. There was a lot of information that you tried to pack into your speech, and I do believe that it did get a point across of introducing us to you in the way perhaps that you wanted. So I have a couple of notes here that I would like to talk about. I'm going to actually do something a little different. I'm going to start with the things that I didn't like first, the things that need improvement. I should rephrase that, things that need improvement. And that is the things that need improvement. One of them was that your eye contact, and I'm actually seeing myself do this right now, your eye contact was a challenge. When you speak, if you've spoken publicly in the past, eye contact is a real big part of giving your presentation. Within the concept of Zoom and what we're doing here right now, it's really, really important to remember that your eye contact needs to be directed at the camera. And that when you start looking around at the reactions to other people or what's going on here, you're losing contact with everybody else in the audience. So as you're giving your speech now, the more you can focus on bringing your attention directly to the camera and ignoring all of the peripheral things that are going on down here, the more effectively your speech is going to be able to be received by the people that you're speaking with. So that was one note that I thought could need help. Sorry, that you may need to work on. Your transitions from point to point were okay. You made some really big leaps. You did get there. There was a little straying off of the path here and there, but we did see that you were going to say from one stage to the next, and that did come across pretty early on in your presentation. Now this one kind of falls into both categories. You didn't use any notes, could use some improvement, and you didn't use any notes, which I thought was really a great thing, especially because this was your first speech. So it is really important when you're giving a presentation to have it feel very natural. And by relying on your memory, it's easy to kind of wander off in a path that may not necessarily be what the path that you want to go down. In this particular case, having no notes at all was a challenge, because sometimes I felt you were straying out a bit and had a hard time going back to where you wanted to be. So consider making very, very minimal notes that will help you stay on target with your message. It doesn't have to be a big, huge sentence. It could simply be one or two words that will help you come back to the line that you want to present. And you had good expressions, you had a good use of hands, and it really helped get that across. Your face did well, your hands did well. In this little world of Zoom, those things are really very, very important. So as usual, I'm being excessively loquacious. I will bring my evaluation to an end. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Charles. Now to our next evaluator, and that is David, who is going to evaluate number 2, Jamard. David, are you ready?
I am ready. Jay, you did a great job on your, I think it was your second speech for general evaluation. For you had to say a speech and then use the evaluation to say another speech. I think you did a fantastic job on your second speech. I think that you excelled at confidence. You're speaking clarity and pronunciation. You definitely appeared comfortable with saying your speech, and you felt comfortable. You came across as being comfortable and knowing the content of your speech. It came across naturally. At least that's what I had interpreted. That you understand the content, you understand the material, and it came naturally from you. Like this is something that you live on a daily basis. You also had great picture words and engrossed the audience with the speech. You used great stories to help us understand the topic that you were trying to convey. And that helped connect the messages together to understand what exactly that you're trying to get across by using, for example, the story of you and your niece. That was a great way to get your topic across. The one thing I would ask you to work on is speed, because I think that you had some great content, but you kind of went from topic to topic to topic very quickly. That's the way I noticed it. And when what I noticed when I'm from writing my master's level papers is that when I use too many words, I can get the same, actually I could get a better point across by using less words. So I think that if you help, it'll help to if you rewrite your speech, reiterate your speech, and kind of condense the words, use less words that give the same meaning, it will help you not pack so much into your speech so that you feel like you need to get through all of it, if that makes sense. So then you can pause for effect. You can give people enough time to digest what you're trying to say, and then you won't have to rush through that. The gum was a distraction for me, so I think that if you went from your speeches, you might want to take that out, put it to the side for the duration of your speech, and then, you know, if you're gum chewer, you know, you might want to take that out. And I think also going into what Charles had helped us with last time, the camera was too close, so we couldn't really see really what you were doing with your hands. It looked like you was using your hand gestures, but I couldn't really see that. So I'm going to challenge you to slow down, reiterate your speech, maybe write it out, and write it a couple times so that you can condense the words, and maybe enumerate the topic so that you can pause in between each point so that it can sink in. And I think that if you use these suggestions on your next speech, you'll be absolutely fantastic, and looking forward to it. Madam General Evaluator.
All right, thank you, David. Our next evaluator is Hans Peter, who is evaluating Josh's speech. Hans, oh, there you are.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and most importantly, Josh. Josh is even speaking from the Toastmasters mentoring program, and the purpose of the speech is to share some aspects of a previous experience as a prodigy. And the title for the speech is just perfect, One Journey to Success. He didn't mess around. He started by sharing a personal story about his personal struggles. He told us specifically the personal struggles he has. You don't have to do that. It's a very effective tool of doing it. And he told us about his struggles and what he was not given. But the problem is that outside of Rob here, I don't think any of the other ones here are perfect. So you told us about to get up and get going, about the my favorite drug in the whole wide world, get off your acetone, and told us what success was, and told us about who gives you help and who not necessarily is who you think it is. The story of his coach, how his coach helped him get through a lot of his struggles. I wish you would have spent a lot more time talking about your coach. He's a very interesting individual, and I think he should be illuminated for the fact that he probably not just helped you. He also helped a lot of other individuals. And I think sharing his story would have been helpful, and it would have illuminated a lot more about what this story is about. Just 1 second.
Okay. Since he is gone, we're just going, oh, not unless he is back.
It was my grandparents or my granddaughters calling to get their story time. And lastly, what it takes to get your speech off to the next level. It's about getting people's attention. And start with something like, have you ever been down? Have you ever been so far down that you didn't even think there was a way for you to get out? Here's how I did it. And then start off on your story. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hans. Now for our next evaluator, who is Vincent, and he will evaluate Robert's speech. Vincent?
Sorry, I was on mute. Can you hear me now? All right, very good. All right, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Toastmaster Robert. Robert, let me give you a little bit the high level of my evaluation first, and I will go into a little bit more detail. Overall, I would say your presentation is very informative, and you look very, very energetic. And you almost like bring your personality or character into your presentation, which is great. And when I look around, I would look for the entire screen. The majority of the audience were very, very attentive, and they did not do any multitasking. So that implied to me that your presentation was very, very interesting and informative. A lot of people try to pay attention to it. Very good. Now let me go down to three areas, three elements of your presentation. The first one would be the content, and I believe you're using the very excellent content, and you actually share a lot of different vision with the audience because you want to share the result of your presentation. A lot of people expect that too, and I myself actually want to hear that too, and that is very important because of the content. Why audience want to listen to your content? Why you want to share information with the audience? And then that way it will be two-way communication. People want to listen to it, and you can share with them. And for that, I would say that is information packed for the presentation, that part, and which is important. Now, secondly, I want to focus on the delivery though. And you look very energetic, as I said earlier, and you look a lot gesture too. I could even see your hand gesture, right? And this is great because you want to show that your energy. And especially in this virtual, and you are right in the middle of the screen, and if I can see you, and you in your hand, your eye contact. So one thing I noticed that though, when you deliver your speech, you tend to look aside. Maybe you try to glance at your note maybe. Right? Sometimes you look on this side, look at the audience, and then sometimes you look at the note as well too. Now, in order to avoid that, however, I would recommend maybe put that sticky note, your main point around your screen, around your computer. That way, when you actually look at your note, it seems that you are looking at your camera. So you maintain the eye contact that way. So for this delivery, maybe something I would suggest to you, using sticky note, your number 1 point, number 2 point, number 3 point, and then put it around your laptop or computer or on the monitor. So you can just look at your camera all the way. Now, last is a message. I think your message was loud and clear. You actually integrate the action in your speech as well too. Ask the audience to take the goals and action. But I will challenge you to this though. Make a pauses next time. Make a pauses. Pause is important. So other than that, fantastic speech. Madam Jen, your evaluator.
Thank you, Vincent. And for our last evaluator, Tammy is going to evaluate Andrew's speech. Is that correct? Who's Tammy? I don't see it. Oh, I'm sorry, Tammy, with the hat. Go ahead. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. So Andrew, you took us back in time. I felt like I was in 1775, right before the Revolutionary War, listening firsthand to Patrick Henry give that speech, a very impassioned speech, but not loquacious. He started off a little shaky, but that was okay because you went right into that speech like it was happening right there and then. We felt transported. I would challenge you, before I even go there, I would say that your pitch and variety and tone was great, spot on. You laughed in certain places and vocal variety is very important when you're giving like a speech to everyone, especially when it's someone else's speech. It helps us feel like we're actually listening to that person. For challenges, Andrew has been sick, so he was not on camera, but in the future, it would have helped to be on camera. And this is the perfect time for a costume because you got Patrick Henry, we got Williamsburg, not too far from here. And it's hat day. So that would have been perfect, but we understand because you are sick, so that's an exception, but for future. Gestures we would have seen if you were visible to us, but we certainly understand. And in summary, I would say it was an excellent talk. You transported us, we felt like we were there, listening to this impassioned speech. And the only thing that would have made it better if you were feeling better, but we couldn't tell by your voice. We could have seen that costume or something that would have been awesome, but you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. And now we will have a timer's report for each of the evaluators. Oh, I think.
Sorry, no.
Oh, there she is.
Melba's here. Sorry, I've just now pivoted my writing skills from pen to crayon. Yes. Okay. Evaluations. 2 to 3 minutes. Jumping right back into it. Let me not lose focus. Our first evaluator is Mr. Charles Hartman. His time was 3 minutes and 26 seconds. David, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Hans, 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Sorry, it's a little hard to read. Vincent was 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And Miss Tammy Adama promptly at 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Woo!
All right. And I guess that you do voting for the best evaluator. Okay, then if you will, Melba will give us a minute and everybody put their vote into the New Beginnings icon here. Now, while we're waiting, while that is being done, let's go to our other reports. How were we on our ums and ahs as well as our grammar?
Grammarian. I think everybody spoke really well tonight, used complete sentences. We could understand the words, used English language good. I think there's a couple of phrases and some people, other Toastmasters have already made reference to those. When Jay or Jamard used be, it could be action or reaction and then button masher. That may be kind of not grammatically correct, but it's still an interesting phrase. And then Tammy referred to a hat for every role. That's another good phrase, and it was brought out earlier. Now for ah counter, Zach, 2 so, 2 ah, 2 Jamard was good. Josh, one and, one one so, one ain't. Charles, one Vincent, one one and, two so. Timmy, one so. David, one two and. Jorny, one two and Franz, two Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Lee. Let's give him a hand. And we have Listen Up, and that was, who was doing Listen Up? I know I have it written down somewhere. Listen, oh, Asha. Yes,
Yes.
Word Master and Listen Up, okay.
You muted yourself back. You see the prompt? There you go.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. We use the word of the day quite often, which was very nice. So I will begin with that. And that was used, I didn't quite hear all the times that Melba used it. So I can confidently say that it was used 8 to 10 times. Do I say by whom is my question. If you could tell
Yes.
me.
Yeah, you identify everyone that used the word.
Okay. So Charles, Tammy, Elizabeth, Robert, Cleo, Melba, Tammy, and Andrew. I think I read that out of order. So, oh, I have Charles twice. Okay. If I left anybody out, I did write them down and I tried to write them on the same paper. And it was also used in the chat room, which was very nice. Thank you all for that. For the listen up portion, my questions for you are these. Starting with Zach. How many seizures did he have?
One.
Oh,
One grand mal seizure in the car. He may have had others, but he had surgeries to make sure it went away.
Zach, what's the right answer? Just one.
What kind of massage?
It's one.
I think it was one.
He mentioned that he had 1 and 3 subsequent ones.
Oh.
No, those are 3 subsequent surgeries.
Oh, my bad. I got that wrong. My apologies. Okay.
Yes, they can.
All right. I do have one other for him if we have the time. We are all in the same exact what? Or the exact what that we should be in. Space and when the exact
Time?
same. Yes. So what, how often for Jay, pardon me, how often did he recommend that we write down what we want in life?
How often? Every day?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Asha, I'm going to say we're going to stop here because it is 8:58, and now look at your printout of your schedule, and it ends at 8:58 with announcements. So I'm going to go and try to give my, without being overly loquacious, my review of the evaluation of the meeting. So first of all, I want to give you kudos for having all the speaking roles assigned with the titles and the projects that you're working on. It's so nice to see. The presiding officer to make sure that the meeting started on time and welcomed everybody. The Toastmaster made sure that the meeting rules were explained. She did have wonderful introductions for the speakers. I love that, how you did that, Cleo, as well as having comments after each of the speakers. So there was a great segue from one speaker to the next speaker. The table topics master, again, kudos to Elizabeth for bringing in the theme of the meeting as well as ideas that came from the speech. So the topics were appropriate. And I heard her say, who doesn't have a speaking role yet? Fantastic. So you do want to pick people who have no speaking roles or smaller speaking roles. So that was done very well. Table topic participants did well in their responses, enthusiastic, creative. And for the evaluators, I had a comment for each of the evaluators, starting with, oh, Charles, thank you for changing your phrase I did not like. I appreciated that. David actually gave, I call them points of improvement, and he repeated them so that they could be remembered. I want to keep in mind, all evaluators did what we call the sandwich method of looking at what's positive, giving whatever points for improvement, and then ending with the positive. Hans picked up on more of the coach info. I thought the same thing, Hans, so that was, I'm glad you saw that. And you gave examples of things that they could do differently, which is important. Vincent, he described that he was going to give 3 areas that he was going to focus on. And so sometimes it helps know what are you evaluating on? So by him pointing out the 3 areas, he did that. And he was a little bit tougher on Robert because Robert is a seasoned speaker. So he wanted to make sure that he got his points in. And Tammy, I liked the challenges that you gave, as well as the word that you used, the summary of being transported. And that's important because this was back in 1700. So that was an excellent phrase to use. I thought the meeting went well. Everything was well organized. And we're, well, about 2 minutes over. So I'm going to end my evaluation with great job. I thought that it was well organized, well planned, well thought out, and just a great meeting. Great members as well. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
This was an amazing meeting. Thank you everybody who filled roles. And I'm so excited that a lot of you all, almost everybody, I think, had a hat on. So I'm pretty pleased that most of everyone played along. It was just such a great meeting. Thank you, everybody. And now I would like to turn the meeting over to our acting president, Toastmaster David Marshall.
Hello, everybody. We had a fantastic meeting. Thank you so much for coming out this Tuesday evening. I know I've been gone for a couple of times. I've been trying to get back into the swing of things here. And this has been a great transition. So I'm definitely excited to be back with Toastmasters. I want to definitely take the time to welcome our guest that we have, Miss Linda Kennedy. Thank you for filling in as general evaluator. Is there any words that any wisdom or any words that you'd like to give to us as a club? Andrew's gonna have to unmute you here.
Okay. No, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I just want to say that as my general evaluation said, that the meeting was well done, well prepared.
Okay.
Yeah, so great job. Thank you
so much. Thanks for joining us. And Charles Hartman, thank you for joining us also. I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I want you to have a great evening. We're a little over time, so you go ahead and let everyone go. Can you unmute everyone, Andrew, so we can all say our Zoom message goodbye, goodbye.
Can I say one thing?
Everyone have a great evening.
Oh, wait.
Mike's getting off.
I would love it if you would unzoom us so that we could unmute us so we could clap out loud after each speaker. I want to hear everybody clap right now.
They clap for me. Phone's in the hand, sorry.
Bye all.
I do want to say one thing before we go. Miss Donna James has been a very avid guest for us. She's come several times. Unfortunately, I think it was Thursday, it was either Thursday or Friday, it was Thursday, her brother passed. And so a very tragic accident, he got hit by a car. So I just wanted to let everybody know that his funeral is going to be tomorrow, and I'm going to send a virtual link out to the club for anybody who wants to attend virtually tomorrow around 11 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who was it? Who's?
Tell her we got.